I, the voice actor, may have a different opinion on the topic. Enjoy the video. As the results roll in, Donald Trump stands before his supporters, practically glowing with satisfaction. The cameras catch every grin, every nod, as he basks in the moment that no one thought possible. Not his critics, not the pollsters, and certainly not Kamala Harris. She's left staring at the numbers, likely wondering how her confident predictions turned into a one-way ticket back to square one. Tonight, Trump's pulling off what feels like his own personal encore, leaving everyone else trying to keep up. At Harris's campaign headquarters, there's a dazed silence. All those fancy analysts and advisors, the folks who swore they had it all figured out, now scrambled to explain what just happened. They'd convinced themselves she was the answer, the change America was asking for. But it seems voters weren't exactly on the same page. Trump's no-nonsense approach landed him right back where he wanted to be, with a victory he's not shy about celebrating. For those watching, it's like a political drama come to life, and Trump is the lead no one can turn away from, written off too many times to count. He's proven once again that he knows how to work a crowd. This isn't just another election win, it's a loud statement from a man who was supposed to be out of the game. Against all predictions, Trump's triumph isn't just his victory, it's the ultimate twist in a story everyone thought they knew. Donald Trump's 2024 win over Kamala Harris was the result of a smart game plan, solid talking points, and focusing on what really hit home for voters. Trump made sure to talk about things like high prices, job security, and keeping the country safe. You know, the things that make people actually stop and listen. He presented his ideas for fixing the economy as quick and doable, which seemed to sit well with folks in states where Harris's focus on social programs didn't exactly win over anyone worried about their next paycheck. Trump kept his spotlight on money worries, which, let's be real, helped him dodge his own drama while pointing a big arrow at what he saw as Harris's weak spots. His campaign painted her as out of touch with real problems. Trump, on the other hand, kept bringing up his past victories in job creation, saying it loud and clear that Harris's ideas just didn't measure up. This line of talk worked wonders, helping him sway undecided voters by pitching himself as the guy with experience who could get things done, whether they wanted it or not. Kamala Harris's campaign didn't exactly have voters on the edge of their seats. Sure, she talked about the economy, but she did it in a vague, let's all hold our hands sort of way that missed the point for people struggling in key states. She focused more on social programs and progressive ideas, which thrilled her die-hard fans but left everyone else yawning. Meanwhile, Trump's team was all over the issues folks actually worried about, like inflation and job security, hitting those topics like a drumbeat. Trump didn't hold back on the hot topics of security and immigration either. He promised tighter immigration rules and talked tough on safety, which hit home with voters who thought these were big concerns. He made immigration sound like a safety issue and threw in the promise of saving American jobs, which played really well in places like Arizona, Texas, and Florida. Meanwhile, Harris was all about reform and didn't go for the stricter side of things, so Trump had free rein on this topic. Trump's campaign also worked like a well-oiled neighborhood machine. His team had local volunteers all over the place, chatting up voters face-to-face and giving him that "hey, he gets us" vibe. This door-to-door push was huge in swing states, where Trump's crew kept people excited and reminded them to get out and vote. It gave him a big lift, especially in spots where Harris's folks couldn't be bothered to show up at. And, of course, Trump didn't forget about the independents, those fence-sitters who just wanted someone who talked straight about jobs and security. Harris was more about big social changes, but Trump's promises of economic stability hit the nail on the head for those who were less about ideals and more about making ends meet. Harris's team couldn't win this group over. They went for Trump's straightforward promises over her "let's all be better people" approach, sealing the deal for him. Trump's buddies really pumped up his campaign. He even had folks like UFC's Dana White showing up at rallies, which, let's be honest, probably got the crowd going more than any speech ever could. With sports stars and famous faces beside him, Trump built this man of the people vibe. Unlike Harris, who seemed to stick to a more polished, button-up style. Guess he knew how to put on a show. Harris, meanwhile, had her fair share of bad luck. Inflation was through the roof, and since she was part of the current administration, folks weren't exactly patting her on the back. Even when she tried to stay positive, she couldn't shake the baggage. Trump's team didn't let that go unnoticed either, quick to tag her as the face of all those rising prices. Not exactly the kind of fame anyone wants. Then there was the fact that Harris's campaign didn't quite click with some groups. In areas hit hardest by lost jobs and higher costs, her ideas sounded a bit too, well, fancy. Trump, on the other hand, hit these regions like the Rust Belt with promises of good old job growth and straight talk. While Harris was rolling out her plans, Trump was serving up exactly what these working folks wanted to hear. Jobs, jobs, and more jobs. And let's talk about rallies. Trump's were loud, packed, and full of high energy, as if he were hosting a big party. Harris's events were, let's say, a little less lively. Sure, she was sticking to a calm, professional style, but that didn't exactly light a fire under anyone. It was almost like Trump was throwing concerts while Harris was inviting people to a quiet book club. Trump used debates and events to boost his campaign. In each debate, he tore into Harris's ideas and spoke with a confidence that grabbed people's attention. His style let him speak right to the crowd, often praising himself while dodging questions about his own past choices. Harris, meanwhile, did fine, but she was mostly defending her record. Just what every voter dying for a change wants to hear, right? Trump's campaign also threw money into ads about the economy, immigration, and security. These ads hit people's worries directly, especially in places where Harris wasn't exactly popular. Trump's team poured cash into these areas, making sure his messages played non-stop. It gave him an edge in tight races, which, let's face it, was probably the plan all along. Trump's campaign stayed full speed ahead right up to election day, constantly pushing for change. The media could hardly get enough of him, keeping him front and center. His team worked overtime to keep him visible, which pulled in those undecided folks who apparently needed one more nudge. Having his ideas out there non-stop kept his fans pumped and snagged last-minute supporters. The end. Trump's win in 2024 showed how focusing on simple ideas, good timing, and knowing what people want can actually work. His victory over Harris came from sticking to topics like the economy, immigration, and security. He leaned on regular folks for support, plus big name endorsements and endless ads. Harris struggled to keep up. This election proved that, hey, talking about what people actually care about might be smart. Who would have thought? Trump's win shows that speaking to regular folks, building strong groups, and actually focusing on everyday issues still counts for something. Winning in key states and pulling in people from different groups, he nailed what voters wanted to hear. His approach not only got him the win, but might just set a trend for how campaigns actually talk to voters and rally support around issues that hit close to home. Well, we've seen the rise of Trump once again. Should we expect another fall? Well, you know the saying, the higher the rise, the harder the fall.